This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, it's actually so funny. I was thinking about last week how we ended the podcast, and I was like saying that I'm not sure if there'd be anything to talk about this week. I was like, oh yeah, maybe there's like nothing, but like it's weird how every week like just a ton of stuff just comes up. You know what I mean?
I mean, things happen. I guess, you know, life is going on, right?
Yeah, especially now with like COVID and stuff, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
But we'll jump in with The Matrix Resurrections. We check that out. A lot of people gave that one like a pretty bad score. Like when I was seeing all the ratings and stuff, it was like negative. No, not negative. They were like 4 or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like 40-50%.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, is it trash? And then reading the IMDb reviews, because I wasn't sure if I was like, maybe we should check it out or not. Like it was either that or The Last Duel, remember?
Yeah.
And then I saw like the first 10 minutes of The Matrix. I was like, okay, it was really good, so we should all just watch it together. And one of the comments in IMDb was like, is this a satire? Or no, not satire, sorry. Is this a parody of The Matrix? Because they kept reusing like scenes and stuff. And then you're like shaking your head, but I'm like, no, I think most people, the reason why they gave it such a low score is they just didn't get The Matrix. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a big part of that movie was about...
Maybe it was too meta for them.
Yeah, I think it was. No, I think it was. It's like... It was just another satire again, or like a societal dissection.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
It was really pointing to how we are as a society now, and we're based off of like comfort, and like they kept using the word sheeple, which is kind of weird because like with the whole vaccine thing, you know, like they were like, oh, you're a sheep if you get the vaccine, and then when they used it in the movie, I was like, what are we addressing here? Like just as a society, where like we tend to be like sheep, or like, you know, are you pointing to something more contemporary that's going on, like COVID? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, in a sense, depends on which way you look at it, right? So it's like the ones who are like it's based on being led on, like just the way social media works, right? Are you just following in with, you know, the like one side or the other without actually like critically thinking about stuff?
Totally. Yeah, for sure. And I was thinking like when they kept showing, all right, so first off, they made The Matrix not a movie series. It's like total spoilers, but they made the Matrix not a movie. It was like a game, which like is very telling of the time that we're in right now. And then like Neo or Anderson was a video game programmer. He programmed The Matrix. Remember? So like that's who they put him in this version of The Matrix that he's in. He's like he's a person that's like a coder, and like him and Trinity like are like star-crossed lovers because she has like a husband. But they were like pointing to so many like contemporary memes, like the Chad thing. I didn't get that, but you were like laughing because like the whole thing, right? Like explain the...
No, it's just being a Chad or like a simp. Like those are the two opposites.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, I didn't know that. A Chad and a simp are the same thing, or
no, the opposites, right? Like a simp.
Okay. Simpleton.
Yeah, like just doing anything, like just for like in relationship purposes, just doing anything for the girl, right?
Okay.
Versus the Chad, where it's like, well, like I'm the man, like, you know,
Oh,
like
that's
I
so
can.
funny. See, like even putting those in there, I'm like, you guys were definitely poking. Like this is totally, I guess, like the first Matrix is also a societal dissection, but like that was more about the philosophy of what we consider real, But this one was more of like, it kind of felt to me like the cherry on top. You know what I mean? Like the Matrix was this cultural zeitgeist movement of like free thinkers, 1, 2, and 3. It was all about like, what is real? Is there fate or destiny, or is there choice? And then it waited like 20 years or whatever, 1999 to 2020. So it was like 21 years later. Is that correct math? 23 years later.
Yeah.
They waited, and then now they're bringing it back to like try and wake up another generation. It kind of felt like, it's like they were fully addressing the metaverse and like who we've become in these 23 years.
Yeah, we've become more, well, basically, slaves to technology.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that's like, especially the ending of the Matrix when they were talking to the new architect, and he was saying, well, he's not the architect, he's like the manager of this new Matrix, and he was saying like people crave comfort over uncertainty, and like that's why they're sheeple, and like that's how we're controlling the people in the Matrix right now.
Yeah.
Right, and that's sort of like how we are right now as a society, I feel.
Yeah, it's like, especially with social media, it's like going for the likes or going for the views.
Yeah, totally.
That's what that is, right? Like you're falling into more and more like these gratifications from technology.
And that's the drug that's keeping you hooked into
exactly.
the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to. We there's like this ironic T-shirt or brand called like Antisocial Social Club.
Yeah.
So it's like you in an effort to like be free thinking online, you don't realize you're just in a different group. It's like, oh, we're so radical. Like it's almost like the people that are the most radical are the people that are in the center, because they're able to look at both sides. But like you go online, you can find like a really left leaning one or a really right leaning one, and both of them are enslaved to like the concept of what is the Matrix, which is like society or like that in-group camp. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't think it was like littered with philosophy, but I think it was tackling a whole different issue. And I think it was the icing on the cake, or like the cherry on top. It was like, we're done now,
Yeah, that's what it felt like, yeah.
Because I thought they were going to do like 3 up until like the very last scene. It was like, okay, no, they're done. Like they've fully realized themselves. Like they merged both, like in a more philosophical sense, they merged like both the yin and the yang, right? Because like the first 3 were all about Neo, and then this one was about Trinity. She was the one that completed the story. She had the powers at the end. And that's why I feel like it's done, because it's like, where are you going to go from here? You're both super powerful.
Yeah.
Like from a story perspective, not in terms of like philosophy.
No. Yeah. I think I felt like it was done. Yeah.
Like where are we gonna go? Like you're super gods. Like you're 2 super gods. What did you think of the story as like not philosophy, but like the story itself? Like what do you think?
I mean, you can't really take out the philosophy from the story, right? It's
no, but I mean all right. So for me, I thought it was really cool how they brought back.
You mean like what happened to
characters.
Zion and these sort of things?
Like as a story itself, like the characters that they linked together. I
thought it was good.
Like they made Jada Pinkett Smith the new leader, which was cool. I was like, oh, that's cool, because she was very Morpheus-like.
Yeah, it's in a way I would say the story part is fitting to people who watched the original 3.
Yeah, totally.
It's just to see what's happened now, right? Like
and like at the end of like the 3rd one, they created this utopian society of like man and machine working as one, which I think also is like brilliant. They didn't do it in Star Wars, but I thought they would do it. Yoda was the only one in Star Wars that did it. But like essentially there's this concept of good and bad, right? So like the machines versus the humans. But then in this final movie, it was like, no, we're both together. And in Star Wars, they did the same thing, right? It's like the Jedi versus the Sith. But then Yoda was the only one that accepted his dark side. It was in the cartoon. It wasn't like in the movies.
The Clone Wars?
Clone Wars, yeah.
Okay.
So he goes into like his dark side, and then instead of like fighting against it, he absorbed it into him. He's like, no, you are a part of me. You know what I mean? And I think that like that's speaking like a lot, because in order to become the most realized being you can be, you have to accept the bad parts of you as well as the good. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are just all about like, let's push away the bad, but it's like,
Yeah,
but the bad makes
like
you,
the
bro.
line they were saying that they were what Jada said, right? Zion was also like just one-sided mindset.
Exactly. And this new thing that she built, what was it called? IO?
Yeah, I
Yeah. I thought that was like a play on like operating system or something, because I was thinking iOS, but like no, it's nothing there. But
no, well, it's I don't know.
or it's the middle of Zion, right?
It's the
You were
middle of
saying, right?
Zion.
Like,
Yeah,
take the
It's,
Z and the N. It's like the center.
Yeah.
Which I could see that, but or the Z and the N, because we're in Canada. But it was really cool to see that like merger between both sides, and like that's again why I feel like this movie's complete. Like it's the cherry on top.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's what I felt.
it's like, no, there is no good nor evil. It's like Nietzsche, right? Like beyond good and evil. Like it's all just a perspective. But if you can accept both, then you're like, total.
It was like it's not just humans versus machines. There can be a world where humans and machines.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And if you look at like philosophers from the past, like I said Nietzsche, but like the yogis, right? Or like the Buddha, right? It's like the middle way, right? Or like I said with too far left, too far right, the most measured people are like centerists now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're reaching that point now of like centrism.
It generally happens though, like like even real society or like our society. It's when you're younger, you're more leftist, and as you get older, you become more centered.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You become more centered because you get more experiences of the world.
Right. Because like when you're younger, you're like, oh, like anything's possible.
Altruistic.
Equality. Yeah, altruistic. Yeah, totally. And then once you, I don't want to say you get jaded by the world, but you become more realistic. You're like, oh, that's kind of like, that's too.
No, because I guess when you meet others and other people's perspectives, that's when you start to realize like
it's not just one way. Yeah. And like we always bring this up with like carbon emissions and stuff, like fossil fuels. Like you can never fully be away from it. So why are you going to hate on people that drive cars?
Yeah, and also it's like if you want to find solutions, it's not like to go from like directly drop it, because that's not going to work, right? You can work to like for instance, for climate change, like going like believing only in EV or something like that. But like that's not.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, like you can't just do it, in like the next day or something like that. Because these are things that you have to take.
Because there's like ramifications and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you just like took away all gas cars, like what about logistics for businesses?
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
Like that's the major way. Like if it's not even like trucks using gas, it's like ships also use gas, planes use gas.
Yeah.
Right. We gotta look at like a global perspective now, where it's like you have to zoom out, and see beyond your own perspective. But I feel like that's everything in life, right? Yeah. What did you hate about the Matrix? Graphics. Graphics.
There's something weird with the CG-ish of it. Was
look a little off. It was like, but that's why I saw the commercial. I was like, oh, this looks trash. But then like watching the first 10 minutes, I'm like, no, this is a really good story.
Yeah.
Like you can't judge a book by its cover. But I don't know if like COVID had something to do with that or.
No, I just think, I don't know if they didn't do anything. What Matrix was like outside of like the original Matrix was also what they did with CG was groundbreaking, right?
Oh yeah, true. The bullet time.
And it's like there wasn't anything
that was like groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking in this as technology wise or something cool, but I don't know. That's an issue that I had, just the CG aspect.
Yeah, same. I would just say it's just that. I mean, like, you can go off on like costumes or like, well, I guess that would fall under CG, but like I think from a story perspective and a philosophy perspective, it was really good.
Yeah.
It's just the lacking in the visual execution, but it wasn't bad. Like, it was like acceptable. What do you think of Morpheus?
So they didn't explain what happened to the original Morpheus.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
So
That's
they
weird.
just yeah, I don't know why they didn't explain that, but that
They said like the new Morpheus is a merge between the old Morpheus and Agent Smith.
yeah, he was a modal from a game creation that he did.
So odd. Like,
Right?
yeah,
It's
weird.
yeah, it was in a way to somehow bring Morpheus in, but not the real Morpheus. So what happened in the real Morpheus was it was in a video game where I think he was searching for them, and in that process he died, like fighting the machines.
Yeah, so it's like you have to look at the video game for the canon story.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I
I
found.
thought they would have said it, but they didn't even really say
Yeah,
it.
no, they didn't.
Like when they were talking about.
They did say he was like a merge between the two, and I was like, okay.
No, I know, but when she was Jada Pinkett's character was showing Neo around Io, and then there was a statue of Morpheus,
true.
but
She
they didn't
could've-
explain what
yeah,
happened to
that's
Morpheus.
true.
I don't know. That's like that was a
She
perfect
should have
time.
explained it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah,
Like
true.
he could have asked what happened to
The old Morpheus. Yeah. True. Yeah. Whatever. We just ignored that part. I found that.
maybe it's in a deleted scene. Who knows?
Yeah, true. Yeah, they just released that later as extended cut. I thought that the Yaya, his name. His portrayal.
Oh yeah. Right.
His portrayal is pretty good. Like, were you laughing?
Because almost. I said as in. I acknowledge.
Oh, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Like
That's funny.
yeah, just odd.
I thought that his portrayal was like odd because it's like kind of comical but cool. So it's like he was like almost the trickster, you know, like a Native
But he's a
American.
machine, though, right?
He's also
a machine.
Yeah, not even half man, half machine. He's just like full machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Like there were some scenes in there where he was playing like in Native American culture, like the fox is the trickster, right? And he kind of felt like he was, but the wise trickster. So he kind of felt like he was being the wise trickster to Neo. He's trying to like wake him up.
Yeah.
But he's being like jokey about it. Remember the bathroom scene when he's like, "This is real, Neo." I thought that was cool. Like that's a pretty cool Morpheus. What do you think of the new crew?
So what was funny or interesting? Well, she worked with all of them. Talking about Lana Wachowski. So she did Sense8.
Yeah.
So a lot of the characters from Sense8 were in the cast of the crew.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they bring them back, but you know, it's that who you know kind of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, sadly, Sense8 was canceled, so maybe she felt bad. I don't know the behind the scenes of it.
A lot of them were actually, now that like you kept pointing it out, and I'm like, yeah, the German was a captain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was a lot of characters from it. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you like the new crew? Did you think it was like?
Well, they didn't really focus on the crew as much, like compared to the last movies. Yeah. So it was more still Neo and Trinity.
Okay, fair point. Yeah.
The main two people, right?
I liked how they put remember like Tank and Dozer, the operators in the first movies. Like they were always like in the ear.
Oh yeah.
But now in this one, you could like visually see them in the world. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, or like how before they were using like phones to like get in and out, but but everyone has a cell phone now, so they
exactly.
have to use
How do you
new.
do it?
So
yeah, now they had to figure out a new way, which was
mirrors. I was
mirrors.
Like, okay,
yeah, somehow.
That's odd. New way to hack into the system. Like, okay, sure, whatever. Yeah, I like how. Okay, so the part where like Keanu Reeves had a shaved head, do you think that they filmed that before or after?
I have to look it up. I don't know. Maybe it's all CG.
No way, really?
I don't know. Like,
could you imagine? That'd be crazy.
because
like he's had long hair for a while. It's like
Is he still doing John Wick?
Yeah,
so he needs long hair for John Wick.
Exactly. Yeah, true. How did they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like filming wise, theoretically, it's supposed to be like you'd film one portion, like with hair off, like film all those scenes, and then or like it's probably easier depending on where they are. No, it's actually probably easier to have them like film all the hair scenes first, then cut off the hair. Because you have to wait. Like that takes a long time for Keanu Reeves to grow his hair back. We're nitpicking the. I'm curious about that because
I don't know. I always think that they would do those sort of scenes first if there is an actual haircut, like if they actually did shave his head.
Like do all the hair scenes first or the shaved head scenes first?
Actually, probably do all the hair scenes first, but then he's also, but then he's in interviews. He's already got a full head of hair, right? Like,
but maybe it was like years. Maybe they did this back then. I don't even know.
I don't know.
Yeah, movie magic, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Anything else about the Matrix? Are you searching up if it was CG?
If there's anything there, if people ask these questions, I don't know.
Shaved head, Morpheus, Neo, CG.
This is December 23rd. So it says there, just the headline: Keanu grew his hair back out after filming ended.
Oh, okay. So he probably shaved it.
He did shave it.
So he filmed the hair scenes first, and then he shaved it, and then he grew it back out.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Cool. I feel that also now that they're getting older, the martial arts wasn't that on point. You know, like he
okay, so it was like a year since it was wrapped, so filming.
Oh, okay, so he had the time to like bring it back
because of COVID and stuff, I guess. So
right, and nobody sees you in public. That makes sense. So like it was weird, like watching Neo or like Keanu Reeves do those martial arts scenes because I'm like, you're like old now, so it kind of seemed like not as flexible or good as his other stuff. Like I could tell he was kind of old.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if he was he still good in the older ones?
But he's more flexible.
Yeah, I know, but he's still odd. He still has his odd movement. Like he has that weird odd movement.
It is kind of odd. You're right. Well, I saw this other interview where he's like, I'm good at like movie do, which is like movie kung fu, but not like realistic fighting.
Right.
And it makes sense because like his he seems like lanky. You know the way.
Well, yeah, there wasn't. I mean, there only that couple of scenes were kung fu, right? Or like the fighting scenes that he had.
Matrix?
Sorry, in this new one, which was him and Morpheus, and then him and
Agent Smith.
Agent Smith.
Fighting, in the bathroom.
Yeah, but then outside of that was all just bringing that like.
Oh, he had like a force ball.
Yeah.
That was odd. That was a lot. You know, we're just gonna delete that from the pretend like that didn't happen.
Yeah, you're just pushing people with the air.
Okay, like I mean, if you look at because I'm sure like on the YouTube you'll see like what do you call it? It's like messed up parts of the Matrix or whatever. You can like find that. What do you call those? Where it's like you.
Like bloopers
plot holes or something like that.
Oh, okay, like, plot. Yeah.
Not just plot holes, but like dumb points of the Matrix. Like, why didn't you just use that before? You know, it's like, we're just gonna delete that. Like, I really feel like this final movie was more of a message than like an actual movie.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. Yeah,
it was like it really felt more like you were trying to again wake people up, like you did the first one, versus like giving like a visually pleasing movie. You know. Yeah.
I did like how that is it called, like breaking the fourth wall kind of thing, where it was like, oh, but the Warner Brothers want us to make another Matrix.
That's
what's that called?
But breaking the fourth wall would be if they talk into the camera. That would be Deadpool.
Okay. Right.
But the thing you're thinking of is more like it's like poking fun at like satire almost.
Yeah, it's a bit of a satire there. Yeah, it's like. Kind of telling reality where it's like,
a satire, yeah.
It's like Warner Brothers wants to make another Matrix.
It's weird though, like if you look at Don't Look Up and then The Matrix, like these two satires came out like pretty like on point with the timing. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. You know, like how Hollywood always goes like ebbs and flows with its styles. Like this year is a war movie year, and this year is actually like a superhero movie year. You know what I'm saying? Like before COVID, like when we were doing these movie reviews, we noticed that they were lumped specifically year by year. But I guess that's like what was going on at the time. You know, during the green. What was that? Green zone.
Well, they know what's being greenlit, right? Like and these information's out there, like what they're filming or what are they working on.
True.
And it's
I just want to time it marketing wise.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah. I had something else to say about the Matrix, but I forgot. probably come back to me later. But yeah, anything else that you thought was worthy to bring up?
No, I mean, yeah, it was good in its whatever it's trying to do. It just it's funny that it didn't do well in in the public sphere.
It almost feels like people didn't get it.
Yeah,
That's
I think
really what it is.
Right, but I think it goes to that. I don't know the architect. I don't know what his name is.
Like
where he said that well, people just want to be nulled, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly. Yeah.
So
I think it pushed too many buttons in people's like psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's probably why we thought it was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But again, it's like, can you tell that in a compelling way? Maybe, but you know,
maybe I mean, the
like
lessons from the
Star
Matrix.
Wars.
No, I get it, but I think the lessons from the original Matrix is
good enough.
It is good enough, but
that's actually
it's not going to work on today's. It doesn't seem to work on today's society anymore.
Yeah, true. Just like how Green Knight or The Last Duel got like a really bad score, but
no, I got a really good score.
I mean, no, like the opening.
The opening box office
Ridley
was low.
Scott, or who's
Ridley Scott? Yeah,
and he was saying like how we're in the time of like people just want action. They just want to be like they don't.
They just want superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want a roller coaster ride.
And we see that with like Marvel movies now. Even you and I are getting bored of them. We're like, okay, we're kind of just done now. There's nothing. There's no like substance. People just want to be like nullified or like.
Well, that's where the money is, right? Sedated. I guess that's what's happened. Where it's. I mean, these are the summer blockbusters. They've become that, which is, I think it goes up and down. People are liking it right now. So maybe people end up getting bored of it eventually. Then it changes again.
Yeah, true. It's like post Vietnam War, and then like was it Vietnam War? The like 60s boom when like peace and love and then that died out because people became more conservative and then there became like a resurgence of like emo enlightenment, you know, and then
I think society is, you know,
it ebbs and flows.
It changes over time.
Well, there's like this I can't remember the exact thing, but it's like hard times make hard men make good times make soft men, soft men make bad times, hard times. Like it's like you're just in a circle. It's like you have to work hard to make it easy for yourself, but then the ease is too easy, so you're like your next generation is soft, and then the softness creates more problems, and then the problems create a hard time that has to be like climbed out of by hard individuals, and then the cycle continues. Or anything else?
Yeah, that's
All right. So speaking of the merger between humans and robots, something came out this week, and I was sending it to you. I was like, dude, we called this one. The augmented reality of like the contact lens. I swear we said that too. It was like glasses, or like what if it became contact lenses?
Maybe, yeah.
You know,
I don't remember.
But. And then so basically what it is it's a contact lens with like screens, and then it connects to your phone, so then you can use it as a heads-up display, sort of like video games. So if you play like Halo or something, you have your like health bar, you have your ammo bar. So essentially we're actually heading in that direction. You know, and it's what I find really interesting about the whole thing is before they'd use sci-fi as a means to like create new technology. So like people are always like, oh look, they predicted Siri in Star Trek, right? The computer that talks back to you. But I'm like, is it the chicken or the egg? Because I'm like, you probably got inspired by Star Trek, so you wanted to create that. It didn't predict it. It just like gave you the idea. It was the seed that got planted into that, right?
Right.
So I think that there's a shift from sci-fi movies and TV to video games. I think video games are going to tell you the future. You like Cyberpunk, when you play that game, I'm like, of course we're going to head there. Where like in the beginning of the game Cyberpunk, you can like swap out your arm for
Yeah.
like new tech arm.
Yeah.
You know, like your eyes.
Actually, like literally, there was like doing the eyes. You're switching out your eyes.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So like, it's like when you look at it like that, it's like if you just play video games, you're gonna see where we're headed because these are the technologies that we want in our time, but they're just not here yet. Sort of like I always bring this up, but like Grand Theft Auto in the beginning when we were kids, we were playing like Miami Vice or something, and they had the like top view map, right? Because you had to follow the waypoint, right? And you're like driving.
Yeah.
They have it now still in the game. You know what I'm saying, right? Like the yellow line. You
The
have to
GPS
follow,
stuff.
The GPS, and like that wasn't in our world. And I was like, dude, if we just created that now, like this would be better. And then look at us now. We have Apple Maps and stuff, or like Google Maps, right? They all took that one idea and like birthed the tech we have now. So that's a long way of saying that, like the heads-up display in video games, I'm telling you, we're gonna get there, and it's a lot sooner than we think. You know, like you just have to first, like Elon Musk is a genius because what he said is you have to create it for people that need it first, and then it'll be widely adopted. So like with Neuralink implanting the chip in your brain, the point is he wants to make paraplegics walk. Right? There's like a use case scenario. So for the contact lens, like we were saying this yesterday, but like if you can sharpen the image, you don't need glasses anymore. You don't need to constantly change your contact prescription, right?
Right.
Yeah, because like the new contacts would just adjust on the fly according to what your eyesight needs.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you get it?
I don't know if I'll like contacts. I'm more of a glasses, maybe.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. If you wear like, because I wear sunglasses a lot, so like I see the light coming in through the side, so it's like kind of annoying. So like, I would opt for contacts. I just bite the bullet, be like, all right, whatever.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I'm not used to either. I don't wear glasses, nor do I have contacts. So
that's true. You don't even you don't have biometric scanners on your body either, like how I have that Garmin.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I mean, like if you found a use, like, you know, all that to say, but you have the Tesla, so it's like you still have something technologically based that you utilize because there's a use case for you.
Yeah.
So if in the future, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's just, it's a use case scenario thing.
Yeah,
and I think they will get better as they go, right? So
totally, yeah. And then the more people that adopt it, you can create like economies of scale, reduce the price. You don't have to pay so much for it. Yeah. I was gonna say that it's funny if you like study marketing. There's like early adopters, majority adopters, late adopters, laggards, and stuff. I'm like, you'd fall into like the lag. You're like very, like this has to be the right like thing for me to invest.
For
in,
me, it's more. It's a use case scenario. If
that's what a laggard is. It's like I'll only. Well, I mean,
it depends.
Yeah, I guess
it depends because I was like the first ones. Like for the iPad.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right?
True too.
But I saw a use case scenario where it made sense.
You're more utilitarian in your
yeah, I think so.
Behavior.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right word.
That's true. I'm more hedonic. Like I'll buy it if I think it's cool. Like it's just more like if I get a dopamine hit,
right?
I'll buy it. But
right. Like for me, like I haven't had the Apple Watch.
Because you're like, well, what is?
I don't have a use case scenario, nor do I wear watches. Maybe eventually I will. There might be a time, but
yeah.
But it's like. Yeah, it depends on the scenario. Like iPad made sense. Like the first iPad made sense.
That's so interesting about like different types of purchasing behavior, like hedonic versus utilitarian. Because like you can, I'm a firm believer that there are archetypes. I mean, like I'm not the only one that said this. Like I've read about this, but like there's specific archetypes. Okay, I couldn't really explain this to Tara, but I think I could explain it to you. So like because you have to first understand determinism. If you don't believe in like determinism, there's no way I can explain this to you. So basically, like with the Big Bang, right? There are patterns that emerged, right? So like you could technically say that like our next choice is just a ripple in the pond, right? Because something came before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So okay. If all life is just a ripple in a pond, how many ripples can you make? They're all going to start to look the same after a while, right? Like this ripple is kind of like these ripples. Obviously, there's gonna be like slight differentiations, like snowflakes,
Okay.
right? But a snowflake is generally a snowflake.
In the abstract, yeah.
Right, you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
Okay.
like it follows the pattern of a snowflake, right? But on an individual level, yeah, sure, they're different. It's like fingerprints, but like right. So I firmly believe that people are like archetypes. Like there's patterns of people.
Okay, sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like utilitarian hedonic or like free thinking and
Yeah.
whatever. Like why can we lump these people together in groups?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like the idea of the caste in a way,
Yes.
which is like you have these skills.
Yes.
You fit under this category.
You are the priest. You are the worker. You are the warrior. You are the.
You have these skills. You'll lean towards being a warrior, let's say, or or a businessman, or like these are this is the way.
But the crazy part is, I think they knew how to do it back in the day because, like, with the caste system, even though we're like, oh, that's a terrible way to do things.
Well, there's again things
caste.
can get corrupted, but the original thing is like it's not about where you were born; it's about your actual skill.
Totally, exactly. And what I think is interesting is like when we talk about caste, like you get born into a caste. The only reason why that happened is because your father did that, and your father's father did that, and your father's father. You know what I mean? And down the line, it's like, all right, take Arvel, right? So his parents are bakers. He became a baker. If I were to become a baker, I would have to start at zero. But he spent his whole life being a baker.
Yeah.
So it was like, because like he was surrounded by
Plus he's got
who
more
could tell you. So
exactly.
he's in the baking caste.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like it's not wrong to create these castes, but I mean that's a centrist view, right? Like people on the left are like, dude, we should be able to do whatever we want. Yeah, you can, but like look at it.
No, but the thing is like that was the original thing was you can based on your skill because it's not like not everyone is. It is likely to become like that's where the whole name blacksmith comes, right? Like
Yeah.
It's just that person will train his kid, and then he becomes that too, right?
Yeah. John Smith, you mean?
Yeah.
John Smith. Like not so. Okay,
oh, like the Smith name.
The Smith name is because you're
like
a blacksmith.
being a blacksmith. Yeah.
Which is etymology is crazy, bro. Etymology is like the origin of words. So like when you said that, like I knew what you're talking about.
Yeah.
John Smith. You're a smith because you're a blacksmith. So that was their caste. They didn't call it a caste though.
No.
They're just like,
but
this
it
is
is
the
technically
lineage I was born into.
Yeah, which is the same thing. Right?
Yeah, crazy, dude.
I mean, everyone was doing that. Of course, it's just there's different words for it, but they were all.
But now we're
all cultures were doing it.
Now we're overly free thinking that we're like, dude, this is bad.
Well, now
but it's like, what are you talking about, bro? This is just how
right.
It's
true in that sense. Yeah. But like now you can go to school into things that you want,
true,
but
true.
it's still gonna be
you're
still gonna be leaning towards things that maybe your parents did or something like that, right?
Yeah. Like lean into your skills, like lean into your I hear what you're saying.
Right.
And then that's when you get crazy when like you I won't name specific people, but like you could see it as well where it's like you were kind of brought up in this specific way and then you tried to break out of your caste by going to school, but then it didn't work out, so you just reverted back to your caste. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you should have just leaned into your caste.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like breaking out of your caste system is very we're making it sound so like
because the connotation of the word
but not
is
actually just like think about it like if you're listening to this like or a cut of this, I'm not going to cut this, but if somebody else cuts this, like you have to listen to the whole context of what we're saying. But so anyway, so breaking out of your caste is much more difficult than you think. But we give the promise of like, an education. But it's like, sure, you can be educated to be a freaking like
it can be hard.
A doctor. It'll be harder.
It'll be harder
because if none of your parents are doctors, and then you're trying to be a doctor, bro, who are you going to go to?
Yeah.
Who are you going to go to help you?
Yeah.
You know, like for example, so you can technically say like my family is a nurse caste, right? For the females.
Yeah.
So like my sister is a nurse, my mom's a nurse, and then if my sister has a problem, she goes to my mom. She's like, hey, this happened.
Right.
What do I do?
Yeah.
But if I didn't have a nurse caste and I'm like, hey, this happened, what do I do? I don't know.
It's not saying that you can do it. It is of course going to be more difficult than a person who has family members already in that field of that experience.
Exactly. You got to lean into your skills, bro.
Yeah.
There, Peter Drucker, I forgot the person who like Faraz Zahabi always talks about this book, and I read it. It's funny how like books are. Well, I'll get into that after, but so he's basically saying that like you have to. A lot of people try and do things that they like rather than do things that they're good at. You know, it's like stop trying to like. I want to be an NBA player, dude. You're 5'5". Like what are you doing?
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like just be realistic, look at your attributes, and then lean into your attributes. That's it. Like what's easiest for you, do that thing. You know. So that was the. And what I was gonna say about books is that
Or leaning into your skills, right? I guess.
well, attributes is like a part of your like skills would be an attribute. It's like
Okay. Gotcha.
you're a painter, like that's kind of an attribute. Like you're short, not tall, it's an attribute. You know, it's more like general.
Okay.
But yeah, I was gonna say about just quickly about books that it's funny how like a 300-page book is really just trying to tell you like 5 things, you know, and then like when I read them, I'm like, there's so much fluff in these books that it's like you just wanted to tell me 5 things, bro, and then you're just trying to reinforce those 5 things.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think
because
you
the
can't.
book deals. So like we're putting out a book right now. I guess it's kind of public knowledge, not me and you, but like I'm working
Right,
with
yeah.
this, like these people. I'm putting books. So I put a chapter in it, and basically one of the things that came up was like books have to be a certain length, and I'm like, oh, that's why it's fluff. Like you could have gotten this across in like 2 sentences, bro. You don't need to give me the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I in a way it makes sense too, right? Like, would a person buy a book that's 2 pages
Totally.
or a book
Yeah.
that's 30 pages, right?
I would, because I'm like, if it's succinct enough and you just go straight to actually I buy a lot of short books because they're the most succinct. But like
But this is it's still
searching,
right, but
yeah.
it goes back. It depends on where you're at, right? So who you are too, I'd say.
yeah.
So like if you're in
Perspective
India,
value.
you want a movie that's 3 hours long.
You're right. Yeah, you're saying. Yeah, that's
But
true.
the actual story of the movie doesn't happen in the first half. It happens in the later half.
True. Do you know what's so funny about that? You were the first one to watch like 4-hour long epics when we were kids. And then I remember Titanic being the only one that was 3 hours. And I was like, dude, it even came with an intermission, bro.
Oh, yeah.
There's hour and a half intermission, hour and a half. And you're like, I'm not watching this movie. This is crazy long. But like in India and stuff, like you guys were on that already, you know?
Yeah. Because you want
And now we're
a
telling
journey.
like
You want a
3
journey.
Yeah, right. Now we're telling these like 3 or 4 hour long epics, but like, bro, we've been on that. Like, you know, it's not new to us. Like you guys. Yeah. It's just funny that you said that.
Well, like I see a lot of movies nowadays, even like Hollywood movies are reaching not like 4-hour lengths, but they are reaching 3-hour lengths though.
That's crazy. Dude,
There's a
it's
lot more of those now.
Like the most common ones are like 2 hours and a half now. Before it was like an hour and a half, and you're like, now that seems fast, bro.
Yeah, it does actually seem fast. Yeah.
And even with like TV shows are basically movies. They're like 6-hour long movies, right? Because they're just or like
Yeah, if you binge it all, yeah, it's
yeah, right. And we're watching C right now, so it's like it's just one long movie. So it's like 8 episodes, but that's an 8-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like the story's the same.
So before, like even with TV, where it was like now we're getting well, not now, but like it's been there for a while, which is like a continuation of a story, right? Versus like before these types of sitcoms were just you can hop in anywhere and still.
Right. True. You're right. Dude. That's so true. Like Friends, you can hop in and any because it's self-contained.
Yeah.
Like that episode. But they were doing that on purpose because that was the time they were in. They didn't have binging. They didn't have streaming.
No, I know,
services.
exactly,
You had to
yeah.
watch it like every week.
Yeah,
Right?
like you can, like they were starting to slowly get into it, like later on, like I think of like Smallville started to slowly do it. Like there's like other shows that started to become more telling a longer story.
Yeah, totally.
But there will be individual stories within it. But there is like something leading or something that will be connecting the whole season together.
There's like a story arc.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, there's a
then
story
like
arc,
mini
and there's like
story.
things happen in between.
But you're right. Like I find that now because of like binging and streaming, they don't even do that anymore. Like you can't really watch one like certain like C, for example. You can't watch in the middle and then be like, oh yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
No, you're like or Game of Thrones. You're
That's
lost.
right.
You
Yeah.
have to start from the beginning.
From the beginning, yeah.
And I feel like people are finding their sweet spot now. Like they said that season 3 is the last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if that's true, I'm noticing a trend now where it's like they realize you don't want 20 seasons of something because nobody can possibly watch all that. Like Game of Thrones is so long. You know what I mean? It's like it's 10 season or whatever, right? Even if you started now, it's like that's gonna take you forever. So it's like, why would you? You can't like repurpose. Okay, so like economically, right? You get money off of every time people stream it, but somebody's not gonna want to stream something that's like infinitely long.
It depends.
No, it depends, but no, you're right. It depends because but that's a smaller market. The fact that you said it depends means that it's like you get less money, right? But if you can get more people with it, then it's like you get more money, right? So if we do like a short run series, like,
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, dude, just watch Squid Games in one season, it's amazing.
It does, yeah.
People are like, oh, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, yeah, Squid Games is 10 seasons, you're like, bro, I'm not gonna invest. You know, like you're right. It's like the diehards will stay, but if you want to maximize on your money, at the end of the day, like even though we talk about like art, it's all about money,
Yeah, of course.
right? Like,
yeah, it's all.
or else you're a starving artist,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. All right. So speaking of which, I know this is crazy. We're going everywhere, but Vince Staples, I was watching his interview and I'm like, this guy's a genius because he didn't do anything for money like prior to rapping. He was saying like he had no job and like all he wanted to do was just get a job because like where he was socioeconomically, like to get a job was where it's at, but he couldn't do it because of like his history, you know. And then he just started rapping and then that took off, and then people were like using his music for TV shows and the movies. So he's like, okay, why don't I just make only music for TV show and movies, but not like a producer, like not Hans Zimmer, not like that.
Yeah, no.
He's like, I'm gonna make songs that you're going to want to license off
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
but it's still a CD, you know. But my intention is I want to sell this. I don't really want to make a body of work that's like, wow, you're a really good musical artist. He's like, no, I just want to make the most money off of this thing, you know. And he was saying that like because when he noticed he stopped swearing, he could do like festivals because they didn't want like thug rap there.
Right,
so he's
yeah,
like, okay, so I'll just cut out my swearing and I can do these festivals, get more money, you know. So that's the perfect example of like money drives art, you know. Because like Kendrick's good, but if he wasn't commercially successful, nobody would care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then to go into
Yeah, there's a thing about being commercially successful, right? Like everyone, I guess, not everyone, but there's people that would just be like, oh, you're too commercialized or like, but then if you're not commercialized, then you're not successful.
Totally. Like, like 50 Cent, you were saying, like, if you listen to his first albums, like I love Get Rich or Die Trying. That's like my jam because you can listen to that whole thing back to back, front to back, and like not get bored. But then when he got his second CD out, I was like, oh, this is trash. But it's because he went commercial. He's like, okay, my foot's in the door. Now let me make like Candy Shop. Like that's a radio hit. It's just like radio hit after radio hit. You know? But I think 50 Cent as well is thinking of it strategically with Vince Staples. Like Vince Staples, the most overt about it. He's like, no, I'm just doing this for the money. But like people like 50 Cent, if you look at the way he moves, is like he's diversified everything. He wrote like children's books and like, what were you saying? He's like the biggest black-owned streamer.
Well, it's biggest black audience he's got for the shows that he's been producing.
Yeah, dude. So that's crazy. And then,
or the top 3. He's in the top 3. Yeah.
And then speaking of like cast systems, to go back to that, like it's who you know, Vince Staples. Well, all right. So Kendrick Lamar, I just saw this. So I was wondering who he made the movie with, because I didn't know the director's names, but it's the South Park people. He's putting out a comedy with the South Park people.
Oh.
But like that's cool. Like it's like
yeah.
So anyway, Dr. Dre found 50 Cent.
Yeah.
50 Cent is like making all these moves in Hollywood, right? Kendrick Lamar is connected to Dr. Dre because I think Dr. Dre signed him or he like produced a bunch of stuff for him. He loves him. And then Kendrick Lamar is now making movies. So it's like, how did you get that connection? Oh, well, 50 knows this person. All right, go reach out to 50. You know, he knows some producers. And then Vince Staples just got greenlit for a Netflix series. But Vince Staples' manager also manages Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's in with Netflix. You see what I'm saying? It's all about your network of your like cast. They're in the rap cast.
Yeah.
You know, so for that, because I was like, but they didn't say this, right? So it's like he like I just saw Vince Staples is like, oh, I'm putting out this like comedy on Netflix. So I was like, how the hell did this guy do that? And then Kendrick Lamar working with the South Park people, like, how did you do that? But then if you zoom out and look at it like a business move, it's like, yeah, you just know the right people, you know? So like from the outside looking in, you're like baffled, but it's really just about who you know. And I'm feeling that.
I think once you're in, you get to meet all sorts of people, right?
Yeah. But then it's like, what is the cost to enter that club? That's enough. Like, so that's the other part of it that I'm just like, I don't know, you know?
Well, you got to be successful in one of those fields, right? Like,
I guess, yeah.
Right. Their names got to be heard out first. Then.
But it's like, I wonder how people get popular now. Like, I mean, it's as a marketer, it's like technically my job to figure this out. But it's like, for me, I'm so fascinated how people get famous. Because fame is so elusive. You know what I mean? Like, fame, like, nobody really cares. Like, if you want to be famous, nobody really cares who you are. You have to understand that. That's another thing Vince Staples said. He's like, he got asked, like, what about your fans? And he's like, I'll just create new fans, you know, because fans come and go depending on what I'm doing. If they just like what you're doing, then you're a fan, right?
Yeah.
So I think, like, especially in this social media culture that we've been talking about, it's like, if you rely on the likes and the fandom, which we see like a lot of rappers are doing, right? Like, you know, tattoo your face, just be the most ridiculous person ever, like the crazy colored hair.
Yeah.
You know, like,
what are those island boys?
Yeah, them right now. Like, but you know, they come and go. Like, who's that other guy that went to jail?
He's 6ix9ine?
Yeah, thank you. But like, what's he doing now? Exactly. But if this was like a few months ago, what's he doing? Oh, he's like putting out the song, or like he's in jail right now because of this. Like, his name was all over the media. But then, like,
you could do that, but you got to be smart with the money.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you just retire for the rest of your life.
Exactly. I think I saw this like video of Kevin Hart. He was saying to the Island Boys, like, well, not specifically to them, but like it was kind of directed. He's saying like, all you new rappers need to stop tattooing your face, because if this doesn't go in the right direction, you can't get a job. Yeah. And it was like, that's true. You know, even what's his name? The guy, the comedian, Pete.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well,
Pete, he's on SNL.
Yeah, thank you. He's removing.
Is it Davidson or Pete? I don't know.
Pete Davidson. Yeah. He's removing all of his tattoos right now, not because he can't get a job, but it's like it's making his film career more difficult, because like they have to
remove the. I think
like all the makeup, and he's like, dude, it's taking forever. Let me just like laser all them off.
Right.
Yeah, you really gotta like think about your decisions going forward.
Yeah, you don't want to make dumb decisions and regret them later.
I know, right? Like, yeah, move smart. Okay. What about? All right, let's talk about C. I finished C season 1.
Okay.
You saw season 1.
Yeah.
I tried
a while ago. Yeah.
But you still remember like the premise and stuff.
Yeah.
So, the thing that really got me with C is the fact that they're making being able to see a superpower. So it's called C because everyone in the world's blind because of a virus, and then like the people that didn't get affected by a virus. Was it COVID, bro? No, they flew off.
This was before COVID, right?
It was before COVID. So they flew off to a different planet.
Or maybe they mentioned that a little bit, right? In the beginning, you were saying, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, it was like the lore. So I think maybe season 3 they'll come back. Maybe that's how it'll end.
Or like the end of season 2. I don't know. I haven't seen season 2 yet.
True. So. Yeah, true. We're talking about season 1 here. So the reason why I like it is you don't realize how powerful the sense to see actually drives a lot of what we do, right? Because like they could use bow and arrows, they can drive, they can like so many things, right? They can hunt. And then when the girl was saying how she could kill someone with a bow and arrow and then nobody would know, and they would just blame it on like the fire god in the sky.
Right. I think they don't know that there's 2 characters that they can see.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, right. Context. So the show is about this one guy who can see, and he goes around populating, making babies with multiple women, in order to like repopulate the earth with people who could see.
Yeah.
So the story follows two kids who are his offspring.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that context, so yeah, they live with a bunch of blind people. It's really fascinating to be like you are not a god, but you have this power that you don't even know you have.
Right.
You know, and it makes you like really think, like even imagination, right? Imagination is through sight. You first see something in your brain, and then you create it. So how can you create something you haven't seen before?
Right.
I mean, they're creating villages in the show, but I don't even think they'd be able to do that. They make like maybe like
Yeah, we don't know
makeshift
that.
shelters, but it looks
Right,
like they have like full on homes. But I'm like, how would you even know to even color coordinate the rug with the, you know what I'm saying? Like everything in that show should be like mismatched, but it's not. Like obviously for our benefit,
Yeah. Right.
you know. But even like the idea of, they allude to it, like the idea of imagination. Yeah. I was tripping me out.
Yeah, it's a very good way to see how we did not take our eyes for granted, kind of thing. Like how much we do have,
Yeah.
like our ability, what we can see, we use our eyes to see versus when you're blind, right? So, and we create this world, our societies based on from visuals, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then we have to, like, that's why we try to create societies now involving people who are blind, and how do we accommodate them
Ooh, yeah.
in
Fair
our
point,
world?
Yeah.
So we have
Dude,
those.
Actually, speaking of that, they said that in the movie. So, like, on the show. So, they were like Jason Momoa's character was saying how you shouldn't think of yourself as special just because you can see, because we are all capable. But then in the sighted city, they're like, they are lower than.
Yeah.
Because they're, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like even the fact you say, like, how do we make it more accessible for, like, but that's because we're looking at it from the lens of having the sight.
Yeah, exactly. Because we created the world through sight.
We did,
right?
yeah. And that's why I think the show is amazing. Yeah, anyways, keep going, yeah.
Yeah, like that's why we try to do like these, those the things at traffic lights, right? So
Yeah, they make
where they
the
can
sounds and
cross the
stuff.
sounds. Like these things weren't
Yeah.
there like even not long ago, right?
Right.
We're only thinking about these things now.
Yeah, that's true. Like, inclusive, accommodating, something like that. It's so trippy. Like, it makes you wonder also, what are other things that we don't have that, like, we think we're the top of the totem pole, right?
Yeah.
But like, if you check out bees, they can see, they can like sense like waves, like radio waves or whatever. But we don't have that ability.
Yeah.
So like, what other thing are we not tapping into that makes us lower than, you know, like relative perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like if somebody suddenly emerges with the ability to like sense a new thing, then we would be lower than them.
Yeah. In a way, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's why that would be. Then it goes to like they're mutants,
Yeah,
right?
they're mutants. Yeah.
And then,
do we ostracize them? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
maybe
what
ostracize. Maybe they'll find it. Like we can't have this going on.
But they did actually, dude. So funny that you say that, because in the show they created witch finders. So a witch finder is, their whole purpose in the show is to kill people who can see, because it's like an abomination. You're a witch,
Right.
right? We would do that, dude. I'm telling you, that show is like, it's so societally appropriate. Like, it really speaks to who we are as a culture.
Yeah.
Because we would do those things. Like, we would, like you just said it, they're mutants. They're abominations. Like, yeah, they did that in the show.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It's all filmed here, right?
Canada? Yeah.
Yeah, in Canada. Well, I don't know about the first season, but we know the second season was filmed
In Canada?
in Ontario.
No, I think first season too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching the YouTube behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
of him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I won't rip on his acting, but we were talking about that last night, and I was like, yeah, I just won't
It's
vocalize
just
on the podcast.
it's not about the act. It's
He's a cool
just
guy.
he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, if you can act, you can't act, whatever, man. You're a cool guy. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll go into the negative stuff, which is actually let me throw something out there before we go into the COVID stuff. Um, in the age, actually, well, this is linked. Okay, so they found out over the holidays that Canada has been tracking people. Okay, you have some more information.
So they
on
already
that?
told this before.
They did, yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. What are you saying?
No, they said that they were doing these things already.
Okay.
Because I thought that the story was an old story, but I think it's a watch. It's the who they're bringing up now. What was talking about is under Canada's own watchdog that they are looking into to making sure that the information that they are getting
Is what they meant to get.
is not breaching privacy. So the information that they were getting is location data, but de-identified, meaning they don't know who it is.
Okay.
If that's so that they know like how the thing is spreading, it's for their, I guess, calculation stuff, right?
But the thing that he said though in that video, which I found nefarious, was that they put it right before the holidays, and then it's set to expire or like to revisit it.
No, I think
after
they've been
people get
doing it
back.
from before.
No, but in the video, the specific video.
No,
I'm
I know,
talking
I
about,
know,
okay,
I know. But they were doing it even before.
that they were tracking us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They were
well, we knew
buying
that through the COVID app, right? They were like,
No, not from the COVID app.
no, I know, but I'm saying like they're two different things. But the fact that they're watching us, we've done it through like things like the COVID app, right? If you go near somebody with COVID,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
ping the other phone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But they were not getting the data from that. They were what they were
No,
getting.
I'm just saying like they've been tracking us.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Okay.
I'm not talking like specifically about this thing. I'm just saying in general,
Well,
tracking is not new.
what they're talking about is specifically that thing, which
but-
is the location
totally.
data, right?
But go ahead.
So they have been doing this, as to what I read on the National Post article, which was dated to
I love how you read
to December
articles.
24th, because I thought it was an old story.
Okay.
Because I thought I heard this already.
Okay.
Which is then it was in the December 24th. So and now he's there. The watchdog, based on complaints, is looking into it to make sure, I guess, they haven't done anything that is actually illegal.
Okay, you know what's trippy? I didn't even know we had a watchdog. So the fact that, like, because you know, like communist countries, they'll just do whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, that's pretty cool that we have this safeguard of people who are at least in our vested interest.
Right. So what they're looking at, I think what they're looking at is more like the information or the data that they bought from basically our carriers.
Okay.
Because they bought it from them to get our location data, right?
Interesting.
That is it. Did it properly? Was it properly de-identified? I guess, so that they don't know who it is.
So is it metadata?
Yeah, and it's like there's no like identifiers to locating an exact person.
Interesting.
So if they don't have information on who it is, then I guess it's
Okay.
legally allowed, maybe.
Totally. All right. So that's not really the freaky part, though. Like, that is really freaky if you can bring it down to like who it is. But what's also freaky is you're able to tell where people are. So it's like within these hotspot zones, we can add more fines or like send more police. Obviously, it's a good and bad thing. I'm just saying that there is some negative ramification to that because you can use it negatively. Like what
it can be used negatively. So that's why so that's why it was Public Health Agency of Canada, I guess. I don't know the full name. That's who got that information, right? That's the one. So either it's for, I guess maybe they're looking at like what it's being used for too. It's like, is it just used for like a data collection in the sense of how the spread is happening?
But you wouldn't be able to tell how the spread is happening. How could you tell?
Yeah, based on the area. So like, why is it in certain areas more positive cases, for instance?
Oh, because they're congregating more.
Yeah. Or maybe like that sort
loose,
of thing,
bro. I don't know.
Or is it like, is there a lot of people leaving?
Other ways
Is there people like crossing borders, and is it coming from that side? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. This is probably all part of like the modeling aspect, right?
Right, totally. But
I don't know. That's why they have to look into this. That's why they have a watchdog for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally. And I like how we're both taking two different, like, you're looking at the positive side and I'm trying to bring out like the negative, like play devil's advocate here. But
Well, I'm not saying positive side.
No,
I'm
no, but
just
like
saying.
no, but that is it's like it's you're not making it out to be nefarious.
Well, yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
just like
Okay.
okay, there's blah, 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 right? Whereas I'm being like, you can use this wrong.
Yeah. So
You know?
is it being used wrong? That's what the watchdog
Right.
does.
So what I'm trying to say is that you can find that data in multiple different ways. You don't need to figure out like you don't need to track people on where they are. But what this is really showing me is we're really policed, like not policed, because there's a difference between. But we're really watched, very Big Brother like, very like 1984. Like actually, I'll get into that after with like COVID, which is
Sure.
but so we're very like I don't know how to say it, like big brothered.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people were worried about that. You know, and it's again, it's a good and a bad thing, but it's good when you're on the right side of the fence. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're following what is meant to be done, then it's all cool for you.
Yeah. So like the data collection thing is. I mean, before you need to have a court order kind of thing, right? Like what do you call that?
You need a warrant.
Yeah, you need a warrant. But that's also you're identifying that exact person
Yep.
with that warrant.
Okay.
So if the information they're getting again is it, that's what the watchdog is looking into, I guess. So
Right. No, I totally agree with you. But what the crazy part is like, okay, so what they're doing with Quebec. Okay, all right. Before we get into that,
Sure.
I'm just gonna go with this one
I
story
got an
first.
interesting story with Quebec, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I mean is like, if you're on the right side of the fence, it's totally cool.
I understand. Yeah.
So like if you're following the rules, if you're obeying the laws.
Sure.
But the crazy part is like when you change the law.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before I get into that, let's talk about somebody who broke the law and it tripped me out. My psych professor, the one who dude, that is trippy, bro. Okay, so and I was like, yo, you can't run.
Was
on
it an
social media.
APB like out to like
Yeah,
find
dude.
him?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what? So this person didn't even go to school with me. Well, she didn't go to university with me, but she went to like graduate certificate school with me.
Okay.
So like, she lives in Oshawa or Pickering, something like that. And I went to school in Oshawa. And I always credit this one this is crazy, dude. That's why Wall was like, it just shows you have a bad judgment character. So like it seems like everyone that has like opened me up to some sort of enlightenment has been a nefarious character, right?
Right.
Like my old martial arts teacher, my old yoga teacher,
Mm-hmm.
my psychology teacher, all cray cray. So this psychology teacher, he's the one who got me to read Evolve Your Brain. So I sat in on, although my sister doesn't remember him, I sat in on his class in the summer when my sister was taking it. I was like, dude, this guy's talking about some amazing stuff. So I took the class and with Sid. And then we were like obsessed. And then I started auditing his class, which means like you go to the class without being graded, you just learn, right? And then you find out that he's out on the run with like an EPB is it called?
Or the APB or
APB,
something?
whatever.
Yeah.
There's
Some
like
kind of amber, I guess.
they're like on manhunt basically
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him for like sexually abusing males,
Oh, wow.
students. Dude, that's great. It is so trippy. And Sid made the joke. He's like, oh, that's why he loved us so much. But he did love us. Like we were like really close with this dude. And I'm just like, wow, that went left so quickly. You know, like, and I feel like in this era of like social media, you can't run, bro. So like they were making these jokes about our accounting professors too. Like they're just jokes. So like I'm not gonna say it like until I see another
Right.
social media post. I'm like, what's going on? They're making these jokes about our accounting professor who like was like doing stuff with the girls too, and I was like, you know. But this is back before the Me Too movement. This is back before social media was popping.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know. But just to find that, I was like, wow, we really. Like the internet is both good and bad. Like it's bringing to light so much that people don't even know about. But like at the same time, there are things like this where it's like we're watching you at all times. You know, like there's like good and bad to it, but like you just can't run in the age of social media, bro. Like I never expect to see his thing pop up in my feed. I didn't even double check it. I was like, wait, it looks like him. Is this the guy? No way. So I had to Google his name and I'm like, dude, that's the guy.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. But if you know where he is, there's a $2,500 reward. Hunt this man down, bro. Bring him justice. I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know. That's not my fight, bro. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy, though. Like,
Yeah, call
Crime Stoppers or whatever.
yeah, or 222 tips. I don't know what it's called.
$2,500 reward.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we're in COVID, so where are you gonna run to, bro?
But he's hiding out somewhere.
You know, like, or did you go to a different country? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe he left the
He
country.
must have. He used to live in Russia. He was telling us about that too. Like,
Oh.
he spent a lot of time in Russia, so maybe he's there. International borders. But you know, I'm gonna keep checking social media.
Maybe it's a false, like what do you call that?
False flag.
Yeah, what I mean is
Can't
like
really
maybe he's
take
an
it off.
actual like a spy, but they can't say it's a spy. They're looking for this guy. I don't know. Figure that out.
Dude, what? All right, now we're just making stuff
No,
up.
just making stuff.
But
up.
like,
yeah, of course.
he lived in Russia. He might be a Russian spy,
Right.
but they don't want to say like. So they're just like, let's just sully his bad name, bro. But you know, with that stuff, it's like your life is not to be super negative, but I would be super negative. Your life is basically done. What are you gonna do after this? What job are you gonna get after this? You're gonna apply to. I mean, I want to bring up this other story, but I'm like, I don't even know if I should bring it. I mean, technically, it's on social. All right, you know what? So this nurse, she posted that thing like they're saying my sister was like sharing around. Oh my god, this is crazy. Whatever, like this injustice that was going on, and then my sister found out like, oh, this nurse totally lied, and it's like, and then totally lied. So basically, the nurse said she got fired. My sister found out she didn't get fired, but then she ended up getting fired because of what she'd been doing, like lying and stuff. And then it made me think like, but they offered her like, you could take this down, we won't fire you. And then she's like, no,
Right.
I'm gonna keep it up, freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
And like you were saying, people, we like the likes and the clout and stuff, right?
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
But then now that you're fired, or like now that you just like, got caught with this whole male Me Too thing with the psych professor, it's like, where are you gonna go? Like, what can you possibly do?
Right. Yeah.
If they just Google you and they find these articles about you,
Yeah. What kind of references are you gonna be able to use? Like,
what did you say? You gotta scrub your online presence now.
Purge
it. You gotta purge your online presence.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I wonder too as well, like, because like if you Google my name, a lot comes up because like I'm like heavily online. But I don't know if that like hurts or like beneficial, harms you. You know
depends
what I
on
mean? Like,
depends on the image that you put up.
yeah, true. That's why I'm very calculated, but still, it's like you watch out, bro. You gotta purge that. Like, anyways, okay, let's get into the COVID thing. So, next week we are going back to in person, but we went in lockdown.
For schools.
Schools.
Yeah.
But I think we're still in lockdown until the 26th, something like that. And then my sister was saying that she heard that it might be extended. Like that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on anymore, man. Like you illuminate me. Well, what is this? Like, why are we still stuck in this loop, even though they say like Omicron could be the end of it all? Like UK right now is saying like that they're lifting things because they're like, oh, okay, Omicron's good.
Right.
So, I don't know.
It's hospital capacity.
I know we talked about that last week.
Like it's the same scenario,
So
right?
you really think, that's
Yeah, it's a hospital capacity situation that they either, if it turns out that it's stabilized or it's okay by the end of when the lockdown was supposed to end, which is 26th or something.
Did they think it's going to be like the maximum, you know what I'm saying? Like the maximum case count or whatever, we're going to hit its peak?
I don't know if we've hit the peak though.
Okay, like, is that what they're waiting for? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't want to like overrun the hospitals, I guess. That's the main reason, right?
Okay, so my one question about the whole thing is like, it's evidently shifted from again, health issue to a healthcare issue. So it's a business problem, right? Essentially, it's a business problem.
Yeah.
So why not just hire more like
It's not about hiring more nurses.
no, but
Like that is an aspect of it too, of course.
yeah, go ahead.
But I don't think they want to. If you don't have enough beds, that's the main thing, right?
Okay.
You don't want to, when you open it up. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt here, right? Where if the amount of people coming in, even if it's a small percentage, that small percentage is a large number. Can be a large number. Where we don't have enough, where you basically break the hospitals
So
in a
then-
sense. Like what happened in India, right? Where just people are like trying to get to a bed, but they don't have any beds.
Okay, so the fear is that if they come in and they take a bed, then they have to isolate that area, right? Because you have to basically
Yeah,
take
I
a
guess
floor.
so.
You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have- you can't have like
well, that's why
COVID
right
patients
now,
with,
like, it's affecting people who need who are there for other reasons.
yeah,
In hospitals, right? That's like they can't get treatment right now,
Yeah.
and that's affecting them.
yep. So it's still a business issue because it's like an overflow capacity issue. It's also a workforce issue.
Yeah,
But my one question is like, why didn't you just hire? Like, why don't you just create a floor? All right, so there's many issues. So the bed thing. So why not just like dedicate a floor, which they have done, dedicate a few floors to COVID patients. So that's a good solution. But then there's like the burnout issue. So why not just hire nurses specific for COVID only? Because like, like my sister.
Well, I think they were doing that, right? Aren't they? They were doing.
They're
some,
hiring more, but they still have to do nurse things. So like my sister has to like watch a COVID patient and also like a cancer patient. So it's like, why don't you just hire only COVID dedicated nurses?
yeah, I don't know the logistics of what's
But
exactly
that's what I'm
everything
saying,
about
like,
it, right?
Like, doesn't it just seems logical?
No, I know, but I'm
Yeah.
not in the books of seeing what's exactly happening, right? Like maybe the probably.
Maybe the union's like, you can't just do that.
I don't know
like,
what the thing. I don't see. That's the thing. You're dealing with unions too, right? So it's like.
Yeah.
You have to accommodate with the unions, and I don't know what the capacity of nurses you have or per that hospital
Okay.
and amount of patients coming in. Like, I don't know the exact scenarios, but they have, based on their calculations, that this is what they need to do.
Okay. So you're telling me you didn't account for. Okay. So your fear is that there's going to be an overflow. Not you, like them.
Yeah. Them as in public health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't account for like, what if a bunch of people break their legs? What if a bunch of people?
Well, that is accounted for.
Right. So
Yeah.
so they're just adding this on top of that.
Yeah. So some patients, yeah. That's the thing. They have to have some things open, at least for people who are like car accidents or some crazy
It's
stuff
it's like a
these.
hotel. You have to have certain rooms.
Yeah.
in case,
I think
like,
there's a percentage for those sort of
show-ups.
things. Yeah.
It's like
but they're
last
like,
minute shows.
yeah, there's a percentage for those sort of things too, like extreme
Yeah.
scenarios,
Yeah.
or not extreme, like whatever they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. There is those things in like part of the percentage, I guess,
Okay.
that they need for.
But you had 2 years to deal with this. You didn't think that this would be an issue going forward. You
Well,
know
there
what I'm saying?
was no. I they did increase beds,
Okay,
but I don't
but
know how much, but also
So your modeling is bad. So what you're telling me is your modeling is bad.
no. The modeling was based on the original strains, or like the Delta and all that stuff. Omicron came just now, right?
Yep. So how much more of a percentage? I would just like to see the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like,
That's what I was trying to find, like how many actual hospital beds do we actually have, and what are the actual ICU numbers? Because those numbers are going up, but because of the lockdown, it's slowed down a bit, or it's slowing,
yeah.
or because of the current 2 weeks. But we don't know what's going to happen in the now when schools come back, right?
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like if it's stabilizing and actually going down. And actually, we can't really even know the actual number of how many people have COVID
This is the
at
other
this
thing we were
point,
gonna
too,
say,
right?
because-
So somebody else was saying that, well, the only way to do that, to do checking for community spread kind of thing, is you'd have to go to the our treatment plants. Do you know what I mean by treatment
No.
plants? Our sewage treatment plants to figure that out.
Okay.
Because it's the only way to know.
Wait, I don't understand. How it's sewage? Because you find COVID in sewage?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
But then how can you?
I don't know how they
get the-
detect that stuff.
But doesn't it merge together as one?
No, as in COVID. Like, is it, how vast is COVID within the community?
But how could you tell?
There's tests.
Because wouldn't it just merge together as like
No,
all
by
the-
location, where the treatment plants are doing, right? Like where it's coming from.
Oh, just where you wouldn't know the exact.
No.
percent.
But
Okay,
you can
okay.
see like, okay, there's a huge percentage coming from this area, or like it's more than the number of tests that we're doing. Like there's probably a way, something like that, right?
Yeah. Oh, is that why they have the anal check?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
In
that's
China.
yeah, that's crazy. I was wondering. I was like, how does that work? But yeah, you're right, because of sewage.
Yeah. So, but I don't think they're doing that. But like that's why we don't know how if it's actually gone through a ton of people. Then maybe we'll be out of the lockdown at the end of the month.
Right, because with like the numbers that we're talking about, these are way like those are the only reported numbers.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't even look at those anymore because I don't. They're reporting them, but I'm just looking at hospital numbers. Like that's
Totally.
mainly what they're showing.
Right. But because like, well, you had to go away from that because I know a lot of people that had COVID, and it was confirmed through the
Rapid
at-home
test.
test. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're like, I'm not going in for PCR tests. I already know.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I subject
Exactly.
myself to that?
Yeah.
So
And if you want to go do one, it's going to take so long to
yeah, and then you have the chance
get
of spreading it to other
the
people, like whatever.
yeah. But also like by the time you get the appointment, maybe you're better off already, right? Why would you go in and get an appointment?
You're right. Yeah, exactly. So that all being said, like the death count now is significantly low. So the only like because if you were
What
to
do you
die
mean from Omicron? Yeah.
from Omicron, if you were to die from COVID, they're going to report on that because it's like
Yeah.
you can't hide a death, you know. And then when they find out the cause of death, like so, the most accurate number in that whole thing is the death, but the deflated number is the amount of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you already take the official numbers, it's a very low percentage of dying.
Yep.
And that actually becomes even lower if you take the non-reported numbers.
Okay, I see what
You
you
know
mean.
what I mean? Because like that case
Right.
count would actually be
Sure.
way higher because
Sure.
nobody
Sure.
would-
Right.
So it's again not about dying from COVID. It's about
No.
going to the hospital from COVID.
Yeah.
But the general narrative is still getting sick and dying from COVID from people to me.
Well, I think that would be if they're talking. There should be, I think, saying that more clearly in the sense of for people who are unvaccinated. Like that's who should they be.
No, totally,
That's who they're talking to. But they should be clear about that.
Right. But
That who's dying,
totally.
unvaxxed.
But I'm talking about like my circle, not like in the media.
I got you.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just taking that as like a general, like it's my like local survey.
I got you. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, if it's skewed in your perspective, then how will you ever know the real perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Because the media's created such a fear-mongered story that's implanted, and we know through marketing that fear is the greatest motivator for change, and like it sticks for memories.
If they're just reading headlines, yeah.
Because it's trauma, right? Fear equals trauma, and trauma is how memories get stuck in your brain. So, and this is like scientifically studied. So, if that's how it is, of course you're gonna have a long time before you realize that Omicron's not that bad,
Omicron's not that bad.
right? But you're still stuck in the old narrative of you're gonna die if you don't, you know.
I agree. Yeah, that's an incorrect. But they keep saying that in what do they call them?
The
Our
boost thing, right?
no, but our health thing is they keep saying that it's not.
You're not gonna die.
Yeah, it's
Because
very.
they're trying to shift the narrative back. They're like, oh, we need.
No,
to,
they've been saying that,
No,
right?
I know. What I'm saying is we need to shift the narrative back. We
Yeah.
need to like rechange the narrative now.
Yeah. So that's our own health, our Ontario health
So
people.
why is there
They've
so
been
much-
saying
so
that
why is
it's
there so
not
much-
as severe, but it's called the hospitalizations.
No, but why is there so much emphasis on the boost? Because you don't want to go to the hospital. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's increasing your antibodies so that you don't need to be, if you are going to a hospital or if you are get it, you're not as, maybe you're not having it as long.
Okay.
I don't know the exact thing. So they're following whatever they're following.
But to go back to it, it's like the idea is that the boost will give you increased, like you'll have 70% less likelihood of contracting COVID.
I don't know if that's
But that's what they said on the media.
Yeah, but I like you can, even with the other two, it's you can still catch COVID, but
That's
it's
why they said 70%.
no, but you can
30.
still catch COVID, right? Like
Yeah.
even like with two, you still can catch COVID.
Oh,
It's
you're
about
asymptomatic?
how much, yeah, how much you're, um, like basically it's how long, like how well your body can handle the COVID, right? So you're
Yeah.
better off with having vaccines.
Right, because you were right, sure. Theoretically. But this one was
What do you mean theoretically?
theoretically like, I'm talking about boost.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, obviously, we're pro vaccine. We
Okay.
think that I'm
Yeah.
talking about boost.
Uh huh.
So, like, theoretically, this boost will help you with more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, also at the same time, this was an alpha variant boost. Oh, alpha variant vaccine. We're talking about Omicron
Sure.
now.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, how do you know that? You're pumping me something to boost my antibodies for an alpha, but this is an Omicron.
I think they're going on based on certain science. I don't know the science.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
like we said, like I want to see the numbers. Like, what is the science? Like, if it, like from the one I read was 0.00002, it's like, in
Yeah,
terms of
deaths
difference,
don't
it's like
change. It's I guess
severity.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but still, it's like relatively similar. So why are we tripping? Yeah, I don't know. That is, it's just like
Well,
with the
we're
Matrix. And
yeah,
like,
I agree. Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, the hospital. It's just hospitalizations. They don't want it to be overrun or potentially overrun. I guess.
I really feel like we're building a skeptical, I mean, with the people who are paying attention, a very skeptical generation going out of COVID. Like with the Matrix, don't look up what's happening with COVID. We're kind of like, wait, what are you doing with these numbers? You know? So speaking of which, severity, COVID, anti-vax tax in Quebec. So you say you had a story about that?
Yeah. So actually,
It's not true.
no.
Oh, okay,
It's not that it's not true. It may be true, but they were doing. I think they were. So I was watching something else where I missed it too because I didn't see that. But I knew if something happened like a day or 2 days ago. Something happened in Quebec where somebody basically left their job, right? Like quit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll tell you who it is. But
Okay.
uh,
Trudeau?
so, but then this became the big news, which was everything then became focused on this tax thing.
It's a red herring.
So I think no, I'm not saying that the tax isn't true.
No, it's a red herring.
Yeah. So it was
Okay, sorry.
it was Quebec's.
Wait, let me just, in case you don't know what I meant by red herring.
Okay, sure.
Red herring just means that it's like a marketing term where if you want people to look in a different direction, they do it for dogs. You throw out a red herring, the dog's going to look in the wrong direction as you pass by. So that's what they're doing.
So I didn't get it for myself. I was watching another person, and she was saying it on the media thing, I think on CBC or something, where it's funny that it was like on the Monday or Tuesday, whatever, that they announced this guy is saying that he's leaving his job, which was the public, the leader of the public health in Quebec or something. I don't know exact position, but he's like up there, right? So that would have been the big news. Why is he leaving his position?
Oh,
but then what was left, what became the big news is the tax.
Right. So nobody even cares about that.
So nobody's talking about that.
Or they did, but it didn't gain enough traction.
Exactly,
so it
because
just
the
got
tax
passed.
thing became a much more. This is a much more bigger story.
Right.
Instead of why is that guy leaving?
Do you remember the like, speaking of red herrings, and like that is so aligned with. So when I learned about red herrings was in PR when I was doing that graduate certificate, and the during that time, remember the shooting in Ottawa? Remember, like there was like somebody went into like the Parliament building, started shooting people. This was years ago, though. I was like in school.
I don't remember.
All right, so basically what had happened was there was all this shooting. There was like a shooting in Parliament.
Okay.
And they locked it down.
Okay.
And then that was like all the big news. And then the next day they were talking about something like superficial. And I was like in class, I'm like, we just learned about red herrings. So I'm like, isn't this a red herring? Because like, why are we focusing on like a celebrity gossip thing instead of who the shooter was? You know, like why did he want to break in? What's going on with that? And like, everyone in class looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, we just learned about red herrings, bro. Like, you're trying to shift the media. But like, I think to go back to the Matrix, like we don't want to question the bigger issue at hand. We just want to be like handheld into.
I don't think it was a handheld. I think it was what it was just the tax thing was a bigger story.
It is, yeah, but like
we forgot about
the other things.
The other thing, why he left his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why did he leave his job?
Mm-hmm.
No, do you know why?
No.
Oh, okay, nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
Is it sex scandal? No.
I don't know.
All right, so
or he's just frustrated with the way that they're handling COVID. I don't know.
Yeah, I find that a lot of people, like, you hear that all the time. Right?
Like maybe that what they want is not being done by the government.
Do you remember during COVID, like the political, there's like a lot of, so like a year ago was, we were still in COVID, and that guy was caught going to Mexico or Cuba, and then he came back, and then Ford fired him. But then it turned out that Ford knew the whole time that he was going. He was like, just don't get caught.
Yeah. I know that guy. Yeah.
Right.
That guy. Right.
So
he's just on the news recently too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not running for election or running for re-election.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because your reputation is kind of there now. But so, okay, if you critically think about this, if you really critically think about this, we're all being told to do certain things, but the people in power positions are not following those things. So why would we do them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I heard Trudeau was in like Austin, Texas for his birthday or something. He was like traveling. It was like, this is not the time to travel. So it's like, what?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's like lies. Maybe I'm just spreading like lies. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, but that, all right, because I can't fact check in real time the Trudeau thing, I won't even say that. I just saw that somebody said that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I think that, like, the one we do know is the guy that got fired, and turned out Ford knew the whole time.
He wasn't fired.
Oh, he wasn't fired?
No.
Dude, freaking, I thought that was the whole thing. That's what I heard. I was like,
he
lost
apologized.
position. Well, no, I thought he lost his position. Not fired, but like maybe demoted or something.
It demoted, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't fired.
Yeah, because, you know.
They just put him in a different.
But they made it seem like he was fired. He like lost his position.
He was finance minister, right?
Yeah, that's the guy.
He lost his job as a finance minister, but he was put him to another spot.
Okay, so he didn't get fired.
No.
So it's like, okay, you broke the rule.
Because you can't really fire him because he was elected.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's a different scenario. Yeah. You just can't.
Okay, true. Fair point. All right.
Like he put him in a finance minister position, but then he fucked up.
Removed him. Yeah.
So he's like, no, you can't be in my cabinet. Okay. Like top of my cabinet or whatever.
But okay, so we're not addressing the fact that Ford knew the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, that aside, remember the people that were outright, like the politicians that were outright being like, this is so ridiculous, the lockdown, and they're like, we shouldn't get together with their families. And then I can't remember who it was. It was like
so wait, I just wanted to get the story straight.
Okay.
So he knew, but he didn't.
He knew. Like I posted the video a year ago, and he was like, it was like Ford being like, I told him not to go, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, so if you told him not to go, it means you knew he was going.
Yeah.
So, like, well, why didn't you take any more action before?
But you can't take any more action. He's an individual person. He can do what he wants, right?
I guess, but like,
you can't like not let him do anything. You can't like ban him from going.
No, but you should be like, you're gonna lose your job if you go.
Well, I guess you could say that.
Right? Like, dude, this is not a good look for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was only when he got caught.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
it was only when he got caught that they made this whole thing. Mm-hmm, people were pissed, and then he's like, "Damn it, why'd you get caught, bro?" So then he booted him out.
Yeah.
But if he didn't get caught, no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's thinking about this. But all right, so anyway, so the Ajax dude, I think it was Ajax or like Pickering. Remember, he was like, "Oh, this is so dumb," and he had like. He's like, I'm going to go against the lockdown of like not seeing your family. And then he had a family party, posted it, and then they fired him.
Okay.
It's like, it's almost like.
I don't know this story either. I don't remember this story.
Okay. All right, well,
just so much stuff is happening. It's like, I can't remember.
What I'm trying to say, the principle behind it is that if you follow the rules in public, if you're in the boys club, and you follow the rules in public, cool, But if you get caught, we're going to throw you to the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Like that person that was like, this is so dumb. I'm going to go against this.
Yeah.
Just don't post that, bro. And you can have your family gathering all you want. But if you go against us, you're out of the boys club. You're fired.
Right.
And they fired him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I said, you're building a generation of like suspect individuals coming out of COVID. We're all gonna be like, I don't know about this anymore. You know, like you're breeding dissent.
Sure. Yeah.
Or maybe they're like, yeah, but people will just fall in line anyways. Maybe they don't care. You know, it's like
No, but this affects their elections, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. There. So I was listening to Drink.
Like Ford is actually like conservative side, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot on the conservative radio. They're not liking what he's doing. It's going to affect his election.
Yeah, we'll see when election time comes. Like,
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But like right now, it does not look good for him.
There's
just
always,
right now.
There's this thing in business, and I'm sure it's in politics too, because politics is just business. You mitigate your risk. You calculate which is the biggest risk, and you just account for that risk. So I'll give you a music label example because I heard on Drink Champs, and I'm like, dude, that's totally what's going on. So the record label would sign these artists, and then a part of the artist budget would be a get out of jail, not actual, but like it's like a get out of jail lawyer fee.
Mm-hmm.
So they put aside a specific amount of money because they know this artist is probably going to run into trouble. Here's your like get out of jail fees,
like an insurance policy.
Your bail fees.
Yeah, okay.
Or insurance, yeah, but it's not. You can't actually insure for it. They just like put money aside.
Yeah, they're putting aside.
So it's like this is your bail amount. So like, if you look at it like that, it's like we know we're going to break the law. We know you're going to break the law, so we're just going to put money aside just in case you do break the law, so we have someone to pay for it. But if you think in terms of that, it's like it goes back to the Ford thing. It's like, okay, just don't get caught. You know, like we're cool. Like, or no, sorry, not the Ford thing. It's going back to like the dissenter thing of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we know we're going to piss off a lot of people, but if the majority's still not pissed off or free thinking enough to deal with these conspiracies or like these shady deals, then that's cool with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's still like just 80-20. It's like 20% are going to come out of COVID being like more skeptical, but 80% are still sheep, so it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're trying to say. Yeah.
I feel like that's how they're building their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, matter of fact, I know that's how they're building their decisions. It's like risk reward.
Yeah, they look at the polling numbers, right?
That's totally right. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, like why all of a sudden they're going to go ahead with the schools? Because
we pissed off too many people. All right, 80-20. All right, let's go back.
I don't know. Like it's there. Yeah, there's people that are. It affects a lot of people, right? People are pissed. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that are also fearful of what may happen after the schools
open.
But
they're like 80-20. We're just going with the 80. So 80-20 rules, like, you know, majority.
Yeah. So polling wise, maybe it's better to open the schools than to close the schools.
So what is politics if not just a game?
Yeah.
Really, like we're just playing. Like, is our best.
Well, that's the point, right? They're supposed to do the people's bidding.
But okay, so there's like in politics, there's like lobbying, right? So like lobbying basically is like, can I convince you that my way is correct? That's what lobbyists do. They're just like, you know, swing in this way, and the politician has to like move. So if we're playing that game, it's like, it's not really about, if you look at politics like that, with like lobbying and all that, it's like, it's not really about the best decision. It's about the loudest decision or the loudest cry.
It depends, yeah. There's nothing wrong with lobbying, though.
What?
Lobbying is...
No, wait, I didn't hear what you said.
There's nothing wrong with lobbying.
Nothing wrong with lobbying. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Sometimes you need lobbying to be done.
Of course you need lobbying. But what I'm saying is like, if you look at... Okay, so like... All right, I'll do it like this. Here's my example. Like a parent and a child. The child yells so much that he wants ice cream for breakfast. You know it's not the right decision because you're like, I shouldn't give you ice cream.
Yeah.
But you're like, you're yelling so loud, I'm going to give you ice cream. Yeah. So in that case...
That can happen, yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's like, it's not the best decision. It's the most lobbied decision.
Can be, yeah. Sometimes it is, like, that's why there's always going to be possibilities of nefarious reactions or actions to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's just But there's a lot of times where I think, for instance, like, well, we're trying to. This is how it's going to help our business get it bigger and easier, and we can hire more people if you.
Talk about politics here.
We were talking about politics
Okay.
with lobbying, which is like they're giving us more access to certain minerals or something.
Okay, yeah.
So like these are part of lobbying, like
No, yeah,
or it's
no.
or it's like because politics doesn't exactly know what businesses sometimes need,
Right.
and that's what lobbying is.
But the lobbying, it's all like, so in the child ice cream example, ice cream is the outcome.
Sure.
The parent is the politician.
Mm-hmm.
The child screaming is the lobbying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's which voice is the loudest. So like even if you think it's like the best one, if we can get another party to tell you why that's actually the wrong way to go, we'll swing you. It's not like there's a difference between like law and politics. Because law, it's like the judge is making the best decision for everyone, right? Whereas politics is about like cheerleading to your side. Because in that mineral example, what if like Apple's like, no, this is the best way to go. Oh well, Apple does have more
Well,
money.
that's why. No, but that's. I see what you mean. Like they have more money or
So it's
something.
like, okay, we have more ability to lobby in our favor. It's like, oh, it's a small business, bro. We're Apple. We have more of a vote because we're bigger, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying politics is more of a game. Politics isn't law, though. Law is like objective, right? Or tries to be.
Yeah.
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 You agree? Or,
Yeah, politics is a game.
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
that's why it's you got to convince people to vote for you.
That's why I'm like, what are we doing?
You can easily lose that, right? It can totally shift if something's going wrong. But
Hence-
at the
hence
same
why
time,
we're opening up on the 17th.
yeah,
Even though they're like, the best course of action is to do this. I'm like, no, I'm going to shout louder. All right, cool. You guys are open. It's like, give the kid his ice cream.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about COVID that you wanted to bring up?
No, I mean stuff is happening. This is so much information, stuff that I don't know. It's just too much to go through sometimes.
Yeah, it's a messy time. It'll be interesting to see what we talk. I said this last year and the year before. It'll be interesting to see what we talk about post COVID. Because like right now it's like a huge.
Hopefully Omicron can get us there. So
Come on, now we're all rooting for Omicron. Come on, Omicron, get us over the line.
yeah, it is. Yeah, so it is vastly spreading across the world. So.
Yeah, but if it's no different, like when you see the thing about like you can't tell between the flu, Omicron, or the cold, it's like, okay, well, if it's in that category, man, chill. We don't need to freak out,
Yeah.
But again, that's why they're switching their marketing message now towards like beds versus.
Well, they've been saying that about
But
Omicron.
maybe that's the thing, bro. Maybe it's just like
It's they see the numbers of the hospital numbers are going up, right? So
I don't know. I'm just like I'm skeptical. So I'm like, what is it marketed to me? Like, are you just giving me this number because you want to control us? Like, I don't know.
the actual numbers.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, well, the death thing didn't work, so let's just use hospital beds as the thing. It's like, which is the fear mongering thing that I'm going to use?
No, they're
to,
giving all the numbers, right? They were always giving all the numbers from before.
right, but what's the messaging? Yeah, they're giving the numbers, but nobody reads the numbers. We want to read the numbers, but like, what is the messaging? The messaging is stay inside. It's not safe.
That's the thing. I don't know what the messaging is because I'm reading the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm polling. Not like directly polling, but like listening to people within my sphere of influence, and I'm like, these people are talking about safety when I'm like, what safety? It's relatively safe. Yeah.
Omicron, yes, yeah. We're still dealing with Delta, so
Yeah, you don't even hear that anymore though. Like,
because Omicron is the vast majority, right? But there are Delta
you
stuff.
hear about this like
And also it's
super
like-
variant. Deltacron.
Oh, it wasn't a real thing.
Oh, it's not real. Oh,
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
It was a lab mix-up.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's good.
Yep.
And then the Army super vaccine. I sent you guys that. I'm like, dude, what are you tripping, bro? Like, making millions of. We have all these variants and all these like potential solutions. I don't know.
Yeah, because they want to get out of this thing.
Or do they?
Well, yeah, of course they want to get out of this thing.
I don't like. But I feel like economies have been built that like certain people don't want to get out of this thing.
No, people want to get out of this thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No. All right. People want to get out of this thing, but the people in charge, do they want to get out of this thing?
Oh, they want to get out of this thing.
Really?
Yeah. You don't want to run this kind of. You would rather have a time when there's no. You'd rather run in a country where there's none of these issues to deal with.
I guess.
Yeah, because it's a global issue, right? That's the problem. It's a global issue.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. Yeah. Okay.
Because why would China is doing even more crazier lockdowns, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like, why would they want to do that? That affects everything.
So then, yeah. Okay. I guess we said that before. It's not really like nefariousness. It's just incompetence.
Incompetence, or just this is the problem. Our system isn't able to handle these kinds of situations.
Like falls under incompetence. It's like we didn't think about, like we weren't capable.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like you can't. Yes, it's like, can you ramp up in a way that you can be able to handle this or not? Right.
But not even just that. Can you, like when you say ramp up, can you collectively ramp up? Can you gather enough people to like want to support this cause?
It's the whole world. It's the whole world is dealing with this situation.
Yeah. Okay. Final thing, because I just want to like end off on something not COVID related. I thought this was pretty interesting with like languages, right? So you know how like a different language, like you can't. I don't know. You can say it, right? Speak it a little bit, right? But you can understand.
Yeah, but like
it
when I
quite well.
speak it, it's like.
But you can understand it.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's really interesting with like repetition. You need like environments. So I was really into like sign language, right? But I hit this point where, because I'm playing this game for sign language, I can't go any further because my brain can't retain the old stuff without kicking in. Well, it can't take the new stuff without kicking out the old stuff.
Oh.
So for example.
Yeah, explain that.
But the reason why is because I don't have an environment with which to practice the old stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
So I have to go back to the first module, do that, then do the second one, then do the third. Like I have to run through it.
Yeah.
So every time I add a new module, I have to run through the first one to remember what the first ones are.
I think it would be more helpful if you have people to.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
To communicate with and stuff. Yeah.
And I noticed that for like when people like learn language in schools, like Tara was learning Spanish, and she's like, oh, I can remember it, but like it wasn't as good as it was, but because it's like you're not like actively practicing it.
Yeah, you have to be active. That's why
I
like
think that's so
it helps,
right?
Yeah, that's why it's like it helps if you're in the actual country.
Yeah, or like I'm just around like deaf people, and then I can like.
Do it every day, depending on language, what you're learning. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that really fascinating about like.
And it might be like, for instance, if you want to learn Japanese, like you're learning it, but you probably learn it much more faster, quicker if you're in Japan.
Yeah. But I also find that it's like archived memories. So like when I go back to the Philippines, I'm like, oh, I just know a bunch of words that I forgot about because you hear them again. You're like, oh, that was that, and that was that, what was that. It's just archived.
Yeah.
But like if I were in Canada trying to practice it, it's so difficult. Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah. So, I can't. There's probably some words I know, but like I can't really say it because it sounds super white. Let's say
same
Western.
Same.
So it's just
like when I go to the Philippines, I'm like, I'm not going to say this word.
Yeah, they can speak to me as the language. I can.
Yeah.
I'll reply in English because they'll understand English too. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Right. Like languages are so fascinating to me. It's like.
It's like it's interesting how your brain works too, right? Like what language you actually think in.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Right?
Yeah, they're talking about like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So like for me, you're speaking it to me, but it converts it to English.
Yeah.
Right. So my thought processes are all in English. Or my friend is like, her thought process is in a different language.
Right.
Converts it to, or from English it converts it to her original language that she knows.
Interesting.
So it's and you think in that way. You think in that language.
Dude, it was in the freaking movie Arrival. Remember, like, she started to be able to travel through time? Arrival?
Oh, yeah.
So when she started to understand their language, because what he's saying is, like, that's exactly it. It's like you think in terms of that language. So when she was able to understand their language, she was able to travel through time.
Yeah.
You know? Because she was able to perceive time as a non-linear object through communication.
Yeah.
That's so trippy. Like communication is like the bridge to everything, you know? the conduit to it all. Yeah, I find that really. Yeah, they. All right, so last thing in the book Outliers, they talked about that too. This is the reason why, uh, like the Chinese people tend to have better math scores than Westerners, is because when they think about like a math like multiplication, it's like it's not like 25 times 5. It's like 25 sets of 5. You know what I mean? Like it's rearranged in a way that makes them comprehend math easier.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas,
The
like,
language makes it easier for them. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Athena is outside now and she's signaling to us to. How long is the podcast?
An hour and 50.
An hour and 50. All right. That's why Athena came out. She's like, you guys have been talking too long, bro. All right. We'll end it there. Till next time.
A lot of stuff is going on.
Yeah, right? And I was like, last week, I was like, dude, I don't think we're going to talk about anything. And then here we are. All right.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things. And check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.